also a health coach. She owns Fortify Health Coaching. You can check her out on Instagram at mer.paci. Today we're gonna train legs. A great part about training your clients in person is sometimes you get to jump in and train with them. So today we're gonna kind of meld our 2 leg sessions together. This is my second leg session of the week. This is Meredith's only leg session of the week, so we gotta make the most of it.
Awesome, thanks.
Starting off with some leg curls, we're gonna do 3 working sets. Then we're gonna go over to the leg press, do 2 working sets. Meredith would typically go into a Smith machine squat. I can't do that yet, unfortunately, so we're gonna do some Bulgarians, we're gonna do some single leg RDLs, and then we're gonna finish with some nastiness on the leg extension. So come along for the ride, we'll try to explain what we're doing along the way, and hopefully you get something out of it. Anything you wanna add, Meredith?
No.
3, yep, good connection. 4, hold on this one. And up, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Two, 3, 2 more. 4, yep. 5, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and down. Stay connected. 1, all the way. 2, yep. 3, 4, big squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finish with a couple partials.
Whoa. I did my first set.
Yeah, because you did it wrong. I wanted you to lower the weight.
But I did.
I'm not doing that.
Oh, 1 set.
No chance.
Fuck that.
It'll waste my whole set.
It will not if you do a drop like that.
I don't want to do
It will
that.
be like Jesus.
I don't want to do that.
I hope this is recording.
I know.
And hearing you say, I don't want to.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to.
I want to do what is prescribed. I went 15 pounds heavier than I did last week. Squeeze hard out of the bottom. Go. Perfect. Go. Yep. Beautiful set. Great range. And squeeze. Yep. Up. 6. Amazing, amazing. Stay with it. Stay connected. Yep. It's yours. Just keep grinding. Keep grinding. You're in it. Go. You got one more if you want it.
No, yes.
Come on. Control that eccentric. Squeeze, go. Finish. That's your rep, your rep, your rep, your rep. Awesome. just gotta put the camera on you.
This is where my ego would have wanted one more rep. And what would have happened is if Paul would have allowed me to do that one more rep, it would have been out of spite, because he would have already known I would have only been able to get it halfway up. And I know that. So this is me reading his mind, reading my mind, but I'm really reading his mind.
Yep. It's yours. Take a moment, take a breath. Go. Another breath. Go. Good. Done. So like I mentioned, that first set was for motor control. This one, we're just trying to keep a steady pace, focus on even foot pressure. Maren didn't necessarily reach muscular failure, she reached technical failure in that bottom position where she couldn't hold that tension. And that's what we're after. We're trying to push that capacity.
You just missed an epic set by Paul, but it means it didn't happen because it wasn't recorded.
So, fuck man.
That's twice.
That's twice. For Meredith, we did her first set to that stopper, teaching her to control that end range. And then the second set, we dropped the weight a little bit and just focused on consistent tempo and foot pressure until we reached technical failure. For me, I did my first set with a 4-2-1-1 tempo, which essentially means 4 seconds down, 2-second pause, all the way up to kind of acclimate me to the load for one, get a little bit more end range control with the isometric in the bottom. And then my second set, I did something called a myo rep set. So I kept the weight the same as the first set, which was 6 plates. I removed the tempo entirely, focusing on good tempo and control. And I tried to double the reps, aiming to take little mini breaks anytime I was approaching failure. So I think I got like 17,
Yeah.
3-3-3-1.
Yeah, because you got your 30 reps.
Yeah, so I got 30 reps, which is phenomenal. The other reason I really like the myo rep set after the tempo is because at this stage in my recovery, I need to practice being a little bit more explosive out of end ranges as opposed to more static. So it's a fantastic way, pre-fatigued, to be able to push to failure and not worry about the loading so much. Holy, my ass. So next up, we got Bulgarian split squats, and we're gonna superset this with a single leg RDL. We're gonna use a heel elevation here just to add a little bit more calf hamstring co-contraction, actually make it harder to control that knee travel. Again, some things that will improve the recruitment of the quad, but then also serve for me in rehab. So where again, we can both train the same way, similar exercise, similar intent. I'm gonna go with a bilateral load. Meredith is gonna use a goblet squat load. So she's gonna hold that kettlebell at her chest. It's gonna increase her core activation and make it a lot harder to control her pelvis, which again is something that she needs to work on. So same exercise, we're just gonna modify it a little bit differently for our needs. Abs on, ribs down, straight up. Perfect. Keep that same tempo. Beautiful. 3. That heel pressure, big toe pressure. That's how you take a set to failure. Now, because there's such a big stability component in this exercise, we're not trying to push any sort of fancy intensifying strategy. We're trying to maintain good tension. We're trying to maintain perfect execution. We're trying to train as close to proximity to failure as possible. But that failure likely won't come from a single muscle group. It'll come from your stability. So Mare will likely fail in her midsection before she fails in her quad or her glute. But the goal here is pelvic control. It's not necessarily to build muscle, although we will get incredibly strong in these movements. It's the transfer over of these movements to our bigger compound movements that really matter. If you neglect your stability, you're just gonna have a massive glass ceiling. There you go, great work. So find your balance, even foot pressure, hips are going straight back and forward. You're not trying to rotate at all, just straight down, straight up. Don't let that knee travel back. Yes, good. 10, 2 more. 11, last one. Good. So you probably noticed in that lift is because of the landmine arcing towards that front foot, there's a tendency to lean into that working hip. But the cue here is to stay centered in the ground, even foot pressure, and resist that rotation because it's gonna open up that hip into internal rotation as you hinge, and then you're gonna squeeze out. We need hip internal rotation for that initial part of our hinge. So it's a fantastic movement to restore that stability.
I can feel when I'm in a pissy position versus not.
So what Mare's explaining is because of that rotation component of the landmine and how slow the tempo is, she can kind of course correct during her set where she feels the tension and make sure it's in the right places. So obviously that set was a lot easier.
Yeah.
You're able to control that knee over your heel a lot better, and it's not traveling back as much, so there's less compensation.
What I like that we do here that a lot of people may not do, the tendency is to always go up in a bigger weight.
Yeah.
One that looks impressive, but by keeping it smaller, it's forcing me to hold that tension in that bottom range.
Because you can't touch the ground.
Absolute hardest, yeah.
So you'll also notice that we're supersetting these two movements, and they're both very hip dominant movements. That's for a reason. We both are dealing with hip stability issues. And so by training these movements a little bit short of failure with really slow tempos, we're able to make sure that we're opening the hips from where we want them to open with. We're getting a great stimulus of stability. We're training our muscles through their full active range. And while they might not be quote unquote optimal for hypertrophy, we have to keep the goal the goal. Training isn't always focused unilaterally on one thing, pun intended, because we're training unilaterally. We have to look at the secondary and tertiary benefits of the exercises that we choose and understand that not only does one exercise feed into the next within a session, one session feeds into that following session. And if we want a great exposure progressively over time, we have to be intelligent with our choices. It's a really fancy way of saying that we're training hard and being smart. Meredith and I are both using a yoga mat in between our shins and the pad. This machine doesn't have a great access to that fully stretched position, so it just gives us some more space to get our heels further behind our knees. I'm gonna use a yoga block. Because of my injury, I tend to wanna compensate by allowing my knees to flare out on the eccentric of this movement. So by just lightly squeezing a yoga block, I can make sure that I can maintain a straight line between my hip, my knee, and my foot as I'm training my quads so that there's no torque around my knee. You can already see I'm kind of like shaking here. That'll calm down after this warm-up set. So Meredith wants to see if she can hit 1 rep with 160 pounds. I very rarely will advocate for a 1 rep max on a leg extension, but Meredith is in her fuck around and find out era.
The more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out.
And the good news is Paul is recovering from blowing his quads out. So if there's anybody that has my best interest at heart and who can fix me, It's this guy.
What we're gonna do here is a functional isometric. This weight is not gonna go anywhere. All right, let's go. Lock your ribs down, pull your hips in. Ramp up into it. Okay, all right, go again. That's it. That's it. That was impressive.
I am impressive.
So what Mara's gonna do on this set, she already hit her heavy 2 sets, a 4 rep max, and a normal work set. We're gonna do 2 legs up, 1 leg down, alternating for 10 reps each. Then from there, she's gonna proceed directly into 1.5 reps from the bottom. The purpose here, some overloaded eccentrics. These are fantastic for building resilient tendons, also allowing you to make sure that you're really connecting with the target muscle on that eccentric. And then the 1.5 reps, we talked about spending more time in knee flexion. So by training extra time in that bottom end range and applying tension, we can improve resilience there. This is gonna be a long set, probably 3-minute set, maybe longer, depending on how long Mara is able to sustain that 1.5 rep. Right now, she's just trying to connect as best as she can with these 2 up, 1 downs. All the way. Squeeze out, yep. Stay in it, connect. Connect again, all the way up. And up. No momentum, no momentum. Yes. Partial. Yep, and all the way. Done. It's another example, like you would look at that and you'd be like, that's way too many reps. Yeah, but what's the goal? The goal is to build tissue resilience. And in order to build tissue resilience, you need tension through that tissue for a long period of time to accumulate fatigue. We could have easily done a set of 50, but because we manipulated the rep scheme, we manipulated the execution, we're able to kill multiple birds with 1 stone. You get a fantastic stimulus, you train to failure. We know hypertrophy occurs along a wide rep range, even up to 50 reps. So why not fucking push the limit sometimes? This camera's fucking killing me. That set sucked. I did 10 per side with 2 up, 1 down. I think 14, 1.5s. Great set. 10 out of 10 recommend. All right, this is where we make the concession. So most of the session was my idea. So I hijacked Meredith's workout. And one of Meredith's goals is to be able to do a 1-arm pull-up. So I've been programming a ton of dead hangs, a ton of chin-up holds, a ton of long duration eccentrics. And what we're doing here, we've progressed to the point where she was doing weighted dead hangs on a fat bar, to the point where now she's doing single arm dead hangs on a fat bar. So you're gonna get to see me try that, and you're gonna get to see Mara fucking crush it, because she's killing them now. And this is why having a great gym community is awesome. We just guilted Jonathan into trying this with us.
No, watch. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" Like, just.
Stop the rotation. Don't let yourself rotate. Don't let yourself rotate.
He just pulls himself around. You just had a conversation with him. He's like, "No, like the other way." Fuck yeah.
I feel like a complete pussy now. That wraps it up. Leg day here at 613 Lift with Meredith. We did a lot of work today, and you'll notice like throughout the entire workout, we're finding creative ways to train hard around some limitations and to address some weaknesses that we both have. How's the session?
It's amazing.
I mean, we just had a great conversation actually about different ways to progress lifts. And, you know, Meredith made a great point, and I think it'd be worth iterating again. Why you choose to shift the focus of training away from progressive overload all the time.
Yeah, well, the catalyst was something changing in my health, and I wanted to keep training. I wanted to keep having fun, and we had to shift away from constantly increasing load and increasing reps. And to do that, like, Paul's really amazing about getting creative. And you know, the point that he actually made when we weren't recording is there's so many ways that we can have those secondary and tertiary benefits from doing something in one exercise is actually going to carry over and have that progressive overload in another session. We just have to get creative and be willing to see those things.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people fight against. Like, it has to be constantly increasing weight, constantly increasing reps. If not, they're failing or they're not improving. And that's something we have just totally gotten rid of.
Yeah, and like focus a lot on skill development, focus a lot on motor control, focus a lot on making sure that we're leaving the gym feeling better than we walked in after absolutely crushing ourselves.
Well.
And I mean, I don't know if we succeeded in that one today, but I hope you guys learned something. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and let me know what you want to see next. Talk to you soon.